Hey everybody, thanks for being here. This week we're aboard the Hillbilly Deluxe off the Oregon coast in search of albacore tuna. Brought to you by Corning Ford, Procure, Clackercraft, P-Line, Max Lure, Fishfield, Brad's Fishing, Valley Marine, Ole's Fishing Charters, and Fishang Products. Now, if you want to learn how to catch more fish, stay tuned. I'm Justin Wolf, and this is Angler West Television. We're in Astoria, Oregon, boarding the Hillbilly Super Deluxe.
It's that time of year again for our annual Buzz Ramsey tuna trip. Of course, we got the star here, Buzz, my son Daniel.
Daniel, it's Dan.
Mark Hagedorn, he's the captain, operator of this vessel. No intro for Steve here, everybody knows him. And we got Dave Phillips in the back, and Trevor, the deckhand here.
Hey folks.
We're gonna go out there and find some albacore.
If you haven't seen pod drives in action on a boat like this before, it's interesting. Headed out of the West Basin in Astoria. We are, which puts us about 30 minutes or so from the Columbia River Bar. We're going to follow the red line out and head towards the Corners, which is sort of northwest of Garibaldi, southwest of the Columbia River mouth, and start probably about 30 or so miles offshore. We're supposed to have a nice, bright, sunny day. Going to have a little bit of wind, I think, in the morning, and it's going to go away in the afternoon, although you couldn't tell that from right now because we're driving through the fog.
We're going to cross the Columbia River here, bar here in just a bit. In the river here, it's as flat as it gets. We think there's going to be a little bit of lump on the bar. We'll find out here in a bit.
So we're chasing tuna, not salmon today. And we're going out of Astoria, headed out to sea. It's going to be fun. Lots of big ones out there, I hear, and little ones too.
Hopefully we fill the fish bags and little wind and calm water.
It's rough. Hopefully not all the way.
Is it a pretty ocean once we got away from the bar? For the most part, we've been doing between 25 and 30 knots all the way out here. Got out here about 35 miles offshore, saw some birds crash in the water, basically dropping straight in from the air. Went and looked at them, went and looked with the sonar. Nobody was home underneath, so we're gonna keep pushing west a little bit. We're looking for 62-degree water this morning. We're at 60 and a half. So once we hit that 62, that's probably when we're gonna high-speed troll if we haven't found fish before that. We got jumpers out in front, right here at about 11 o'clock. All right, let's fish.
We're in the blue water, that's where they are.
Well, we just slowed down. The captain saw some jumpers. Turned on them. We're going to step back out here and see if we can get something to bite. Not sure exactly what they were, but they look like what we're looking for.
Mexican flag colored clones. Sitting back 100 feet behind the boat. Hopefully we get something to bite.
Yeah, I think they're porpoises. We get a little closer to them, we'll know here.
Yeah, dolphins.
Porpoise?
Yeah.
Full gear?
Yeah, we thought we saw jumpers, but it turns out it is a large group of porpoises, which are still fun to watch, but not really what we're looking for. We're gonna head back west a little bit and see what we can find. We're looking for a little bit more of a temperature change. I think we see a color change in the water about a mile ahead, and we're gonna see what that looks like when we get up here. I think today we're looking for a rip or a good temperature or chlorophyll break. So think about weed lines, those type of things. I think that's what's gonna hold the fish today. Not a lot of just open sign on the water right now. Got the temperature up a little bit from where we're at. So we're at 60.6 degrees Fahrenheit. We just kind of drove through a band of kelp and some birds and whatnot. So we're still in a little bit of dirty water, about 52 miles offshore. And we're gonna put gear in and we're gonna head west at a little bit higher than normal troll speed and see if we can find something.
We're hooked up! Water kind of turned blue on us. Still not really the temp we usually look for, but we're hooked up. Here, Daniel, take this. I'm gonna try to drop this. And see if we can convert it.
I got the crocodile spoon. I caught them on this before.
bring his head out of the water, go down, and bring his head right up to the shore. You got it.
There we go. That's not a bad grade of fish.
It's late July, and this morning we've started our tuna fishing adventure at Astoria, Oregon, aboard the Hillbilly Super Deluxe. And after we cross the Columbia River bar, we have our first fish in the boat on the troll at about 50 miles offshore. But we couldn't get them to bite jigs, so it's looking like we'll need to cover some water today.
Tried jigging, but we couldn't convert any. We got one dead one. It's a nice, great fish. Good size to it. So back on the troll and see if we can add to that.
We just crossed over a school of pretty good sized fish. You know, it's a little bit outside of the temperature range and some of the other stuff we're seeing, but we are in a little bit of a garbage line, so we just trolled by a pretty good sized log, and it seems like we have some fish that are holding in 60.5 degree water, 54 miles offshore, so we're going to continue to head west a little bit to the south. I think looking at the chlorophyll charts and whatnot, it looks like we don't have a real defined break this morning. So we're going to kind of go right and drive out in the middle of the chlorophyll and the little bit warmer water and see if we can get some more of those fish, because that was a nice grade of fish. So we're watching the temperature come up. We're a little bit farther offshore than when we planned this trip than that we thought we were going to see this stuff. Looks like overnight with some wind and some current change, I would say that where we were going versus where we think the fish are now is probably at least 7 miles southwest of what all the satellite imagery was showing us. Right now we have some visual confirmation of something's changing in about 2.5 miles, 2 miles in front of us. The water looks significantly different. It's got a different sheen to it, a little different color. And some of that's light, but also some of it's surface condition. And so those are the kind of changes that we're looking for. And why that's important is those things basically will indicate where there are areas that baits can be trapped. And so that's current moving opposite directions past each other. That's a temperature break that also creates a holding area for bait that the bait just aren't strong enough to swim out of. And when those conditions come together, that's when it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner time for the albacore, is they come in and basically start moving through these big schools of trapped bait. Just had a flyby down our port side by pretty healthy looking albatross. Birds are another indication of where tuna are that you can see on the surface. Ideally, you want to see large birds that are fish eaters just diving out of the air and crashing the water. However, you potentially know when you're getting close when you start seeing albatross, pelicans, mures, terns, those types of things. And we are now in a little bit of a much more lively ocean than we had been in the last 30 minutes or so.
Fish number 2 on. We kind of were confused where to go, so we played spin the Daniel for about 30 seconds, and whatever direction he fell down, that's where we headed the boat. And now we're hooked up again. Nice fish.
It's one of those days after a full moon and 2 days of south wind. They're hard to find. We found a couple of singles. I'm dropping down 200 feet below the boat just in case. We can find some swimming down there too, but it's a nice ocean. We just got to cover a lot of ground on a day like today.
That is a Yozuri high-speed vibe.
So this one we got on the troll, on this plug. They hooked up on the assist hook, the fish field assist hook. Generally when they get on these, they're not coming off, so it makes it kind of nice, feel a little more confident.
In a couple minutes in there, and transfer them. Hopefully we can find a few more fish before we have to do that.
Throw a handful of chum in there. Thank you. Right in there. And smoke.
Hook up!
Yeah.
Hey, all right.
Throw a handful of chum.
Good.
I can see a fish below me. There we go.
Hey.
Came off.
No, there's more down there, Dave. I can see.
I'll get another one.
Dave, I can see them.
Okay.
All fish. These are all fish up on top. They're not big fish, but there's a lot of them.
Job, keep going, keep going. Open the rail right there. That's it. A small one.
Welcome back to about 54 miles off the Oregon coast, where we found some tuna. Now we just need to get them to cooperate.
There we go. Come on.
Fish are down there, but they're just not biting right now. So I'm just gonna put a little anchovy super gel.
There's some streaking up.
Okay.
He just threw bait again.
Huh?
He just threw bait again.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Dave's got color. Color! He's coming, Steve.
No worries. You still there, Mark?
Yes. But yes, we should make this work.
Thank you.
Attaboy. Buzz.
Whoa.
Maybe. Going the wrong way. Oh yeah. Hey. Thank you.
There you go.
All right,
Okay, Mark,
that was
keep it
fun.
easy.
So this here, the jig I just caught this fish on is a crocodile spoon, and I'm not sure of the weight. It's probably like a, well, I don't know, 2-3 ounce. And I caught him on this really good last year, and this is the first one this year. But this thing, when you jig with it, it'll flutter down, so it'll turn sideways and just flutter down. And then if you do it just right, if you let it go just right, it'll fall freely down. So you can get deep, and then you can flutter it right in front of their face, and they like it. We enjoyed the fresh frozen tuna. You know, you can cook them a number of ways. You can slice them kind of thick and just lightly sear them on each side, so they're kind of raw in the middle, but they're really good that way with some wasabi and soy sauce. And you know, you can do all kinds of stuff with them. But the canned stuff I almost liked better, because we home canned them, and then we made sandwich spread out of them. You know, mayonnaise, relish, onion, mixed it up, and wow, it's the best tuna fish sandwich you ever had in your life. And these fish are really good. So this year, I might keep one. I don't know how many I get. I might keep one fresh frozen to cook, but I'm gonna can all the rest. They just are so good. Whoa. Fish on! Fish on!
Gotta catch one bigger than my son. Can't have that. Daniel, reel this one in.
If you like fish, there might not be any better than fresh albacore tuna canned or cooked correctly. here's a simple technique for searing tuna loins that can't be beat.
I just drizzled a very small amount of toasted sesame oil over the loins. Then I put the Rickoff Sexton lemon pepper, which I love. And it's not too peppery and it's very lemony. And then I drizzled a very small amount of soy sauce on top. So now I'm just going to very quickly sear it. I put a little bit of avocado oil in the cast iron pan. I think I'll add some toasted sesame seeds on top right now. About 2 minutes. You can kind of look on the side of the fish and see, like this one could take another second, but this one's getting up there. You want to try to get a good sear. Gorgeous. There we are. Pretty rare. You want it to be nice and rare in the middle.
We're going back to the Oregon coast, but first, here's your fish field tackle connection. Now, whether you're a commercial fisherman or just trying to load the boat to fill your own freezer, fishfield.com has just about everything you could possibly imagine for tuna fishing, including some innovative products you should take a look at. The UV triple skirt clone skirt adds a lot of flash and action to your trolling presentation, and when you combine that with either a ruby eye hex head or a 6-shooter jet head, you've really got something that's going to get the fish's attention. Now, let's go back to about 54 miles off the Oregon coast and see if we can't catch some more tuna.
Once again, we're on the assist hook down here. You can see.
I'm on 2. There we go.
Go!
Ah.
You want it? Okay, I'm going to set the drag for you. Just a little bit tighter. Okay, put that thing right in your hip. Crank down. Yep, nice and easy. Nice and easy. Get your thumb off the spool. There you go. That way, in case he wants to run, just like that, let him go, because these are tuna, not salmon. You can't stop them. That's it. Good job. Stand right up in here where my head is. That's it. Now you got leverage. Okay? It's okay. It's all right.
We're just getting really into the meat of the tuna season right now. So, you know, we usually kind of think about July 4th being the real like kickoff. Certainly some people out of some ports go and stretch it and get some June tuna or Juna. But right now, we're just now starting to see consistent numbers of fish, holding consistent. And, you know, we're getting into the time of year where we're able to start converting from troll to jig stops. It's not automatic like it is a little bit later in the year, but the good fishing it's here. It's a full moon today, which changes some of the tuna behavior as far as feeding times and all of that sort of things. It's 11 o'clock right now. What we've sort of discovered here by looking at satellites as well as kind of testing some hypothesis here is that we are dealing with a temp break that is a north-south temp break, whereas normally on our ocean, it's an east-west temp break, meaning that you drive west and then all of a sudden you have a big temperature step up or differential. This, you're driving north and all of a sudden you get a differential. And so what we found here is that basically along the 4559 north line, there's a temp break that runs, you know, pretty far back into the beach and pretty far out to sea. And so the way we're attacking that is we're basically paralleling it back and forth and crossing it back and forth until we get a couple of trollfish on. Last stop here, we had a double or a triple, and then converted it to several jig fish before the fish left the boat.
We're going to pull up and run for some underwater structure since the afternoon lull or the midday lull is upon us. It's a good time to move. Maybe it's game on right now.
3! We're on with 3! Somebody on this rod?
Steve?
Right here?
Worked up there.
More coming. That's right. Let it go a little bit. That's it. You're in no hurry. Right? I'm gonna run out of line. Ah, great. Put a little bit of drag on it.
I did.
Buzz.
I got it
There you go.
cinched down.
Don't be in a big hurry.
He's still going. Wow, almost emptied that spool. I hate it when they empty the spool.
One of the things you can always do is basically run up and fish some really deep structure. I mean, we're talking about 3,000 feet deep structure here. But we basically moved up to a ridge line. We're still seeing the 62-degree water, and hooked up with a double on troll on the speed vibes, and we're starting to see a little bit more fishy stuff in the water.
Got a fighter on this one.
No, not now.
On the stream?
Yeah, 20 feet, bunch of fish.
Dave, I might need you to grab me out.
Yeah, I got it.
Where's another gap? Right behind you? Okay. And to me, who's up?
Hey!
You're just tail wrapped.
Hey, I hope you found today's episode valuable and it helps you catch more fish. And be sure to watch this episode again, plus hundreds of other episodes on the Angler West TV YouTube channel. Plus, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And remember, without our sponsors, there is no show, so please thank them when you can. Now, get out there and do some great fishing.